surrendered to him. And God wants to use you, but you must live by his power. Ephesians 3:20 says, "Now all glory to God, who is able through his mighty power at work within us to accomplish infinitely more than we've ever asked or think." Our God is able to do more than you can ever imagine. And many of you saying, okay, if he can do that, how do I get his power in my life? There are three ways to do it. You get God's power, one, by praying. If you don't pray, you don't have any power. Praying is communication with God. Two, you get his power by taking a risk to obey him. Sometimes God will send you out someplace and you'll wonder, why am I doing this? If you follow his obedience, he'll make sure to cover you and to bless you. You get his power by not giving up. You stand strong in your faith. You don't give up. And when you even see the test and it seems like the fire is hot in the test, you keep pushing. You'll be like the three Hebrew boys who were in the fiery furnace, who went through smoke and went through fire but never came out smelling like anything they went through. God is teaching us that we must trust him. So hang on and understand that if you keep up the faith, keep up your prayer, take the risk, God is going to bless you. I pray that God's strength and settles, perfect, and establish you. Have an amazing weekend. God bless you.
They love you, then desert you, leave with a plate full with no spoon. It ain't no space, I can't escape negativity. I got used to the taste of it, bad, learned that fuck though. But remain strong through the past over. King of haters on the way like mass over. Roll up, sip something like a pass over. Who would I be? It ain't the man to me that let the next man take advantage of me. When that storm come, no plan I see. Get with it now, without it, then you'll see. I peep the haters, they know I'm greater. That's why they bustin' for the elevator. But I can't save it, it'll be too loud on the pedal stool. Don't carry favors, always got your hand out the man that favors. When I just look down, now you need more paper. I can't breathe, give me 3 feet. I never let y'all be the death of me. When my patient run that, yeah, nigga OT, cause they wanna see me down like I'm at CT6 plus. Get the fuck away from me, say I help you out. If you can help yourself, I keep it G till I DIE. Now excuse me while I get back to PC. HOP ain't losing sleep while your third eye always on me. I'm steady green just to feed the team. My boo, she know that I'm game when chasing my dream. These niggas the same, I rip them trash and then put on new chains. See the problem is, man, you know, I keep it 100, man. Yeah, man, like if I got it, then you got it. You know what I mean? But if I got it, then I'ma give it. You feel me? But I definitely got you through the ride, man. Let's get it, yo.
I'm really getting tired of ungrateful ass niggas. They really about to turn me to a hateful ass nigga. Like I was never there when you never had figures. Pull triggers for you niggas when you caught up in the trenches. Man, I really don't get it. I don't know what's going on, but I really don't feel it. Niggas really know that I've been there from the beginning. But the more I see niggas side switching, make me wanna bring it closer to the end. And that's why I can't fuck around with these niggas. I'll fuck around with my hoes. Cause niggas acting like bitches and hoes acting like bros. Man, I swear I really don't get it. How people switch up they roles. First it was nothing but love, but nowadays I don't know. It seems like anything goes. Where can I go? Cause lately fucking with you, I just stand at a fork in the road. It's hurting my soul. When I'm around you, I shouldn't feel like I should stay on my toes. So where do we go from here? Get dough from here? Or are we gonna end it on the road right here? Cause either way, whether it's left or the right on my property, niggas gon' blow around here. Fuck cities up, while we do shows around here. Keep our music up, while we blow Joe around here. Don't be looking salty if you're not going nowhere. Should've kept it with the moves that I'm moving over there. Cause I'm getting to the point where I just don't care. Know you're thinking to yourself that it's just not fair. But you made your choice and I won't be taught. Just know ain't no fucking coming back around here. And we shining and grinding. You mad that you ain't at the top and you see where we climbing. Our music is timeless. I thought you would witness the vision, but it's obvious that you blinded. I thought we was brothers. I thought we was fam. But it's plain to see that you don't give a damn. Everything cool when we out selling grams, but now it's a problem. A mic in my hand, man. Dang.
Feel you, my nigga. See, niggas be saying just one way of life when there's billions of possibilities that happen on a day-to-day basis. Don't judge us cause you ain't where you supposed to be at in life. Instead of envy or try and bring niggas to your level, strive for better from yourself, not the people around you, man. Pay attention, wake up.
Check out this flashback from the Artist Exchange radio show.
That's the biggest thing, is just empowerment. Just get off of the begging line. Just be proud and just get our pride and our dignity back, because as a child we're taught how to go and beg for a job. Our parents, they literally taught us how to make sure you pull your pants up. Me, I'm 6'7", so I'm a bigger man. I was always taught how to not be threatening or intimidate people when I go into different interviews or in different scenarios. And so we're literally taught how to condition ourselves, condition our speech, everything in order to go and beg these people for a job, because we know when we walk in the door, I have to tear down 10 stereotypes before I get past hello. So we need to eliminate that. You know, and we need to eliminate that, and the way that we do that is employing ourselves and employing our brothers and sisters. And so that's our mission, is group economics, uplift ourselves, because I can't empower anyone until I empower myself, and change from just being women because it's in my heart and my passion to see my people succeed and see us do better, and change the social order, because I know that we are not supposed to be on bottom. I understand who I was. I know I didn't fall out of the sky and land on a plantation. So when you have knowledge of self and you know who you are, what you come from, it's frustrating more than anything to see us in this position.
Tune into the Artist Exchange every Friday 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. every Saturday 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. live. The Exposure.
Listen to this flashback of Skyline Radio Show.
So where we at? Where we talk about the effects and what's going on in these schools.
Yeah.
And what people don't understand. Just real briefly, I just want to talk a little bit about what people say bullying is or is not. So bullying comes in many forms. It's a teasing, it's the cyberbullying, it's the texting, it's the phone calls, it's the posting of pictures and people's personal information to pretty much cause them harm, to have them feel insecure. It's the sex assaults that people actually put out there. There are physical assaults, and there are mental assaults and emotional assaults. And what I like to remind individuals that any aggressive behavior towards...
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
I like this picture though. This was a nice picture. Again?
We've come a long way from this. But this was the original design. It's dated. So.
Very nice, very nice.
I mean, it's been 17 years.
This is Troy Burton.
How you doing, brother? Okay.
He's a singer.
Uh-oh.
Producer. He actually, Troy is in music. He's taught music one night.
Yeah, and road manager for jazz singer Mesa.
Oh, yeah.
Drink out of the dirty water fountain. I mean, I will never ride the back of a bus, so the whole sitting in the back thing is just outsleep to me. You want to know what the problem with black people is? Oh, they're always trying to blame someone for something, and it's just pathetic. No respectable Caucasian man is standing on corners, passing out 40s, blunts, guns, saying, here, go kill each other. It's not a black versus white issue anymore. It's every man for himself. Now, I cannot help it if you didn't get an education, sir. I have mine, so what do I care? This is why I can hold a conversation on any level. You just ask one of these. Street Prophet, NIGGAS, what the Dow Jones is. And I bet you they think you talking about some black kung fu actor.
Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show. I am Nate Couser. We have broken the quarantine and we're here live. I got Troy Burton on my right, and then to my immediate right, I got Mr. J. Esquire, singer extraordinaire, Mr. Producer extraordinaire. We're here. We have another guest that will be joining us shortly, Mr. Joshua Dixon, the funny man. Mr. Talented, but we're going to jump right into it. How you guys doing?
Pretty good.
Y'all been having a nice weekend so far?
Yeah, everything is great.
Everything great? So I'm going to start with Troy. Reintroduce yourself. Let us know who you are for the people that be under rocks and such.
Well, my name is Troy Burton. I'm a producer, director here from Baltimore, and I make a lot of things happen in the arts in this city.
A lot of things. He starts a lot of fires in the city.
Yep. but I also finished them. I know some artists that don't finish what they
don't
start.
finish. And we need that representation because a lot of us have these big dreams and it becomes overwhelming to see them through the day-to-day process. But just finish something. Even if it flops, finish it. Because that helps you to kind of pick up the momentum. And people see that. People see that you finished, even if it didn't go as far as you wanted to go. But unlike the rest of us, Troy is spectacular in all.
But no,
all
let me
fields
say
of
about
study.
that. You got to surround yourself with the right people, you know, and be open to know that
casting is everything.
There you go, and be open to say, hey, I don't know it all, but if you get the right people around you, and be willing to ask questions, you know.
How far into your career did you find that lesson?
I found out early because I had a lot of great mentors. I had a lot of people who had been around in the business, and they would snatch me up and say, look, no, you're not doing this right. No, you can't say this to this person. You know, you got to make sure that you know, doing things the right way, making sure you approach people the right way. Put everything in writing, have a paper trail. You know, so I was blessed to have mentors that, you know, and that's one of the things that I've always decided that I would do is I would mentor others to make sure they're going down the right road because I got it.
And I keep asking Troy, we need a master's class, and I'm going to do my due diligence and just set it up and give him the dates and see if he's available.
Okay.
I think...
You said it, I'm going to hold you to it.
Hold me to it. I got 2 weeks or infinite amount of time now.
Yeah, we got a lot of time for planning now.
Right. But it's such a thing, even... in the music field, we need somebody to sit us down and not even tell us what to do, but give us those what ifs. Because a lot of us in school, we get the talent portion of it and the professionalism side of it, but the business side of it, that's what we're missing. And I know in the music field, mentors are like gone now because it's about competition now. I don't want you to get where I got. I got to get what I can get, and you got to get what you got to get.
Yeah. But it's really something where if I'm gonna be blessed no matter what. You know, I know what I have and what I can do. Right. So my thing is, why not help somebody else? Why not bring somebody else with you?
But you've shown me, especially this is my first time physically being able to work with you on a project. We just did Pearly, but
wasn't that great?
It showed me how really to apply all the creativity that I already have inside of me. We try to look for what we're missing, but we don't realize we have everything to do it. Everything else is just icing on the cake. And we think everything has to be, you know, everything has to be in line, but sometimes you just got to get out there and do it.
I wrote a line in the play that I'm working on coming up in June, and it said, take the time for planning your time. You know, and I say that all the time to people. Take the time. You can't improv everything. You know, no matter how talented you are, you still got to take the time to plan that. So
plan to fail. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. That's one of my mentors gave me that. But we need that, and I think where we are right now with the artists are now realizing you got to plan ahead. I think right now is letting us know you have to plan ahead. You can't just be creative. That takes you but so far. We all creative in these next coming months or weeks. Well, how you gonna get paid for that?
And if you don't plan properly, you're gonna get burned over and over.
So we're gonna take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back here with these gentlemen. When we return, don't go anywhere. The Artist Exchange Radio Show only on BeExposedRadio.com.
This bitch jumping. Okay. If I sit around, hold up. Look. If I sit around, hold up. Yeah. Rebel rap. If I sit around, I'ma smoke some more. Wasn't even thinking about smoke before, but I'm in my hand, I'm in the bed. Don't know who I am, like I'm wearing a mask. With the old town where the cash. If you wear the cash, tell 'em where the cash. You get it for you, gon' run it back. You make promises, but I promise that. Don't promise me, cause I ain't into that. Fell in love with that and got hurt from that. That was all over in the curtains back. Can't see you not noticing that. I'm letting it go, it ain't holding me back. Yeah, I'm on dice, but ain't come for the crack. Working with Uncle, we only do jack. How I'm alive, I thank God chatting about it. Things getting better. Open it up with my name on the letter. Why you crazy about it? Saying whatever. You shy to be you. You know you gotta be you. Sometimes I need privacy too. Yeah, you know I ride. You know I ride. And you know you ride for me too. Yeah, you know I. Look, you like getting that hit from her. When it's me and Murray, just us get chill. I'm in a rush to get off to get you. Never ever had to floss to get you. Hate the dudes that it cost to kiss you. Rug burns on the carpet with you.
Oh yeah. You know the dog on the same. Had to dedicate this to the homie out of New Orleans. Break. Said she wanna bump that. You wanna do it? Go ahead, do it.
Don't live pop. Y'all can go ahead and cry now. I'ma show these niggas what to do with one of these beats, man. I am gas, by the way.
Strong woman story should have been on CNN. Nobody knows what it's like being Gwen. Windows closed in the house, it ain't no CNN. Can't gain weight for years, she been being thin. Single mother, no help from the system. When they was giving out food stamps, she missed them. Birth certificate, baby daddy, she couldn't list them. But her son was so beautiful when she kissed him. Blame it on love, but nigga she could've died with. Destroyed the whole world and found out she was a side chick. The nigga loved his wife and it got hard to hide it. So when Gwen confronted him, he ain't even denied it. Her fault, depends on who you asking. She tried to be a stripper, but the tip out was taxing. Buying all the purses, trying to keep up with the fashion. And her mama hated babysitting with a passion. She deserved better, better circumstances. A black queen, she should have been blessed with certain chances. Look down upon, getting all the hurting glances. Making men change up all the twerking stances.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
All of us walk into various rhythms. I remember a girl I met in college at a club for black women. And I looked into the eyes of this girl. Her gray eyes. My brown eyes. I looked into her eyes and I said, what are you doing here? This is a club for black women. She exploded, crying, told me she was as black as I was. I destroyed her rhythm. I burned down her walk. I think of the darker girls. Girls like my roommate who wore their darkness with pride. And how she, my roommate, and other girls dark like her, painted their full mouths the colors of light and dark fruit. They painted their full mouths lushly, sensuously, color rippling from their full mouths.
Now I'm going to tell you where
You said you're live?
Yeah, go ahead, let me hold it. I was going to put it up to my mic.
I don't even want them to hear you.
Oh.
It's for y'all. It's exclusive.
Exclusive. Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show here live only on BeExposedRadio.com. We got Troy Burton in the building. I'm going to just make him like my unofficial host of the show. Now, he's been on here a couple times. I think he got his feet wet. But now we have Jay Esquire.
Yes, sir.
Joining us. He's the artist with our illustrious Miss Angela.
Yeah.
She's welcomed him on here, introduced us rather.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to introduce yourself to us as well.
Once again, my name is Jay Esquire. I'm a singer-songwriter from Baltimore. In 2018, I released my debut album, In Perfect Gentleman. And right now, I'm in the process of recording a new one. So here we are.
How long have you been singing?
Oh man, since I was about 2.
Yeah.
It's in my family.
Do choirs or churches?
Nah, I didn't. I was definitely influenced by it, but I grew up around music. So like my dad is a singer. My dad is the lead singer of the group The Soft Tones.
Oh.
And And
he's a ringer. He like he don't know what he doing.
And Valerie Simpson from Ashford and Simpson is my cousin, and Cisco from Drew Hill is also a relative. So I was raised around it. Yeah, absolutely.
You got it all around you. That's
a little something.
So how did you know you wanted to be a singer?
I didn't for a long time. I started writing. Well, we recorded a record, this like kids record when I was about 5. And I thought it was cool, but I didn't think much of it. And then I started when I knew when Jodeci came out that I really loved it. And I started writing at 8. And about 14, I really started. I think that's around the time I was like, okay, I really want to do this. So.
What's the business side of it? So what makes you keep it going on that way? Because you could just go to a choir or, just be singing and
well, for me, contrary to the fact that labels do what they do and how they're set up and designed to not necessarily work in the best interest of an artist, I was blessed enough to come up in the age where BET and MTV still show videos and labels heavily promoted albums, and I liked how that stuff went. So I was studying the commercials. I paid attention to all of the promo that my favorite artists did. Every interview I could find of them, every tour they went on, how all of those things went. So when it came time for me to do my thing, I was ready for that. So if I always knew that if I had a show coming up, to place myself in an interview before the show or after the show, and make sure that those radio people were at the show, so we would really have something to talk about. You know what I mean? And we weren't walking into this thing where it's like, let's pretend we know each other and I know who you are, but I ain't never heard of you a day in my life. So I was trying to make sure of that, and then I also would put myself on little weekend tours. I may go for 3 days. I may go do Philly, New York, and come back to Baltimore and do a couple of shows, and then do that like once a month for maybe 3-4 months out of the year. And then in between that, recording an album. And I recorded that album with my own money. My own money. I recorded it. I was over the shoulder of the engineer when he was mixing. And, I got my own producers. I write my own stuff. I sing all of the leads and the background vocals. So everything was pretty much me. So everything fell on me. So it was exactly how I wanted it to go.
So today's topic is there's no easy road to success, and how befitting we have these two gentlemen that are both in the entertainment field, but also we're in this space where we have this virus that's going around that's shutting a lot of what we're doing now, specifically in the arts. From when they started shutting down major museums and Broadway shows, I knew something wasn't right, because normally where we are right now, we still can get by even when everything else isn't, but that road to success can be a little bit difficult when you don't have all the keys that you need or all the tools that you need. But I love talking with Troy because he gives me an honest perspective that sometimes your teachers don't always do, specifically because he's coming from being a teacher. In terms of what projects you have coming up, Troy, you just started a production company. Well, you've been a production company, but now you're doing it through you and not through the organizations that you direct from. How scary is that in terms of business now?
It can be scary because you have to figure out where the money's coming from. My background has been a lot in nonprofit work, and when I worked for these nonprofits, I was always write the grants and secure funding through that, or secure funding through other sources of funding, corporate funding, and the rules were different. But you also were told what you could or could not do as an artist when you're using their funds.
Right.
So when I made the decision to step out on faith on my own thing and do it, I knew I had to raise my own money.
Right.
So I wouldn't do as many productions as I've done in the past in the course of a year. Like this year, I said I may do 2 productions or 3, and that's it. Because I in between each production, I have to go
get the money,
and go raise the funds myself. I call the shots, but also I have to raise the money, and I can also say how it will be spent.
But you are also not dependent on ticket sales to pay for the next production or the current production either.
No.
That's not. I learned that early on. That's not a smart strategy, because you don't what happens when your house is closed because something happens?
Right. The current situation like now, what if I was doing a show right now and it was, hey, I'm planning on in a 300-seat theater, you got to shut it down. That's money that's gone.
Yep.
And so you got to be wise. I'm already thinking about my next production and with what's happening in the world now, and I have to be conscious to say whether I have to make a decision. Do I move forward or do I say, okay, maybe I need to postpone and push back? It's all of that you have to think about.
But that's also the freedom in it too, because you have freedom. You're not worrying about shareholders or an organization that's behind you that said this has to be done regardless. So what are you going to do?
And also I felt like it was something that as an individual, I could share with others. You know, when you work for an organization, you have to be careful not to give away too much information because that organization has hired you to, produce for them. And then so you can't run around and just give out all of the knowledge and, the secrets and things like that. But I have no fear of that.
So your next project is actually your recurring, or I can't even say annual, but your swan song, which is the Real Nigga Show, one of your first productions that you workshopped and created. And you did it with a number of Baltimore-based men.
Yeah, but let me tell you about that. Real Nigga Show actually was created because a group of young guys, they were looking to do something. And they weren't sure what they wanted to do, but they wanted to do something creative. And so it became more like a mentoring type thing.
Okay.
So, and when they actually came to me and said, we want to do something, we don't know exactly what we want to do, but we want to do some writing and create our own stuff and put it on the stage, what they were really saying to me was, we want you to fund it too. They didn't know it, but that's the thought behind it, because they didn't.
Because artists, we don't see how things get paid for.
Right.
We just know we got a stage and we just put this on. They don't really see, but a number of them have turned out to be professional artists in their own right. So I know now they understand what it takes to keep them lights going.
But see, I've always carried them with me in terms of, I take my mentoring seriously, and I don't need a non-profit behind me and all that stuff to get to mentor. I can just say, hey, you're looking for something, hey, let me see what I can do to help you, and you carry them along with you. And then when you see that they've gotten all of the knowledge and wisdom they need, you push them out on their own to do their own thing.
See, you're the type of teacher that I always love having, because not only are you at the front of the classroom, but you're actively in the field yourself doing it.
Oh, yeah.
Often they make the best teachers.
When I was in the school system, there were times when I work as a road manager for recording artist Mesa. And there were times when I would have to leave to go on the road, or we're going to Japan. And my students, they were used to that. They would say, oh, I'm Burton, he on the road again. But when I came back, I always brought something back. If I brought them something physical back, but if I brought them just the experience of traveling around the world and, sharing with them. So
tell us a little bit about a Real Nigga Show.
A Real Nigga Show is a piece that was
created.
And
that's the title.
A Real Nigga Show. And it's meant to provoke thought. That's why the title was there. It was a piece that was developed in 2003. And we did it as a summer workshop type production. And because the majority of the guys who were actually in the show were former students of mine. Some were current students and former students. And we wrote this show, and it turned out to be something wonderful that people kept asking us to come back. And every time we bring the show back, there is something different about the show, because we pay attention to what's going on in the world right now. There's some pieces in the show that have remained, and the audience that attend, they look forward to it. But then they also look for, okay, how has the show changed? How has it evolved? Well, some of the 3 of the original guys out of the 5 are still in the show.
Okay.
And they've grown up with it. 17 years later, we're still doing the show. Tickets are on sale, and people are starting to buy tickets.
On Eventbrite, A Real Nigga Show.
Yeah, and hopefully with what's going on in the world, we can continue, you know, with our plans for our June date. But it's been a great experience because I watched Easy Jackson grow up, you know, trying to find his way as a rapper to becoming a very seasoned activist, a very seasoned rapper, MC, whatever you want to call it, you know. But and Robert Lee Hardy, who you know, wonderful actor who just liked to play around and have a lot of fun, but he grew to be a seasoned actor who's living in LA doing his thing. Joshua Dixon, who a
comedian,
who's supposed to be here with us, but he's running late. But yeah, I'm gonna put him out there. But
it's a real nigga job.
Yeah, but we start on time. But in watching Josh grow up into a very strong, you know, actor, I would say, okay, James Earl Jones, we got one here in Baltimore. Yeah. You know, we got Joshua for you. So watching them grow up and become men, you know, and great men. So I mean, it's been a great ride.
And now you have a new addition.
We have which one?
Is this his first one? This is first show.
Oh no, Davon Curry. Yeah. He's a visual artist. No, Davon's been with us.
No, not him. I don't have my book with me. But did you have a new artist this time, right? Who's the fifth gentleman?
Brandon? No, Brandon's been with us for a while.
Okay.
Yeah, he's been with us for a while. I mean, yeah, we, well, let me set the record straight. Originally, it was 6 of them. Prop Joe, Robert Chu, he was also in the show. But I brought him into the show more as another mentor to the guys and an acting coach.
And he's still a big part of the show.
Yeah, they still to this day think about, what did you tell us to do about this? How did you tell us to say? In rehearsals, his name is always there. And so, you know, he was major to the show, and it was a great loss for us. So it's one of those things where you say, okay, as life evolves, you got to keep moving. Right. You know, I've been the producer since day one, and I've gone in my own pocket because I believed in these guys, and I've been going in my own pocket, you know, making this show happen. You know, actually, the last time was the first time that I recouped. So
you did 2 weekends.
And that told me we were getting this thing right. Because finally, after so many years of doing the show, I'm finally seeing the return. Everything that I put in came back, plus I earned a salary.
But you branded it, and then you made the participants almost investors in it. So that made it so much stronger. And word of mouth just grew each time. I've seen the audience not necessarily grow because it's always been huge, but standing room only. You know, that first time I came, we was standing on the side because we couldn't get seats. And then you added a second weekend. So it definitely has grown because of the participation. But in terms of, I know this time what we're expecting is not what we're going to get, because we already have started adding elements. And if you follow Troy's social media page, you start to see some of the things that we have not seen from this production.
I don't think I've talked about this publicly, so I'm going to do it right here and right now.
You opened up a little bit the last time you was on.
But actually what we did with the show is that we've added making it more of a multimedia. We're adding short films to the show.
Okay.
So that when you... I've seen film used in live theater, and so I said, you know, I'm gonna try my hand at it, because I've actually done some short films and things like that as a filmmaker. I'm basically, my first love is stage, you know.
Right.
But you know, getting into film now, I said, okay, I'm gonna try some of this. So we've adapted the show where in the second act of the show, you will see short films within the show. There'll be times where it'll be just a short film, and then there are times when the actor is actually acting live on stage with the film. So it's gonna, you know, it's something I'm trying that's a little bit different. It's going to be challenging to the actors, and it's going to be challenging to the audience, because I believe audiences are lazy. And you got to pull them in and make them want to be a part. Sit on the edge of your seat and really watch this thing. Don't sit back and say, okay, I paid my money, entertain me. No, you got to be an active participant.
Right. I love that idea of kind of mixing it and blending it in that immersive theater process? Because now the audience member has just as much responsibility as the actors do.
But also it brings in the element of, in Baltimore we have a lot of wonderful filmmakers. So we're doing 6 short films within the second half of the show.
Okay, Beyonce.
Yeah. And so I've selected different filmmakers from the Baltimore area, so that, because a lot of times they don't get a chance. Filmmakers, you show your film, it has its run, and then it go away.
Right.
But to be able to come in and actually put something together with a live theater piece, and you're working with another way of presenting art, it's something that we get a chance to see what we do here in Baltimore. Because I remember one filmmaker said, "Wow, I'm doing a live theater." I said, "Yeah, man, yeah." So it's going to be. I'm still workshopping it because we've shot we've shot 3 of them already.
Okay.
And we got 3 more to go, and we got a couple little editing and stuff like that. But I've stepped out on faith and said, "Okay, I'm gonna give them a live show. I'm gonna give them the film. I'm gonna give them what I have." And also, the week before we're doing the show here in Baltimore, we're doing it in Columbus, Ohio.
Okay, where you went to the last time, and you done it once before.
I want to wait till Josh get here to talk about it, because there's a connection with Josh with that too.
Okay, so how you doing, sir? I want to, in listening to Troy, what does this make you think about the journey that you're taking right now in terms of your passion, your work, but the business side as well?
Well, being as though I grew up with some knowledge of the music business and understanding, the responsibility of the label, the artist, and the relationship or lack of relationship between the artist, the label, and the money. For me, I've always felt like I needed to know everything that was going on with my career. So I need to know how to get my music out there. I would be at a job that I have and be sending emails to different promoters to see if I could get on their show. Just sending out demos, you know what I mean? Nothing would be mixed or mastered yet, but it would be enough so it would be presentable. Just knowing how to do that, knowing how to talk to radio show hosts, or getting my music submitted, and when it was time to promote the album, having it in the record shop, actual physical copies in the record store, how to get it on consignment, and how to do those things. The thing that artists, is 2 things that I want to say that artists need to realize. Number one, it's not a fantasy world. It looks like that, but clearly it's not. It's number one. So if you're going to do this, you got to really be ready to do some work, because your talent, it gets you to the address, but it doesn't get you in the door. It gets you on the front steps. You feel what I'm saying? And also, you got to realize that you're not as the artist, you're not the one being entertained. It's for the audience to be entertained. So you put the entertainment out there. That's why a lot of artists are disappointed. And so many artists don't know about publishing. They don't know about sound exchange. They don't know about masters. They don't know about royalties. They don't understand the streaming money and how those things work. I always tell any artist that I know, like, I actually hit them. Like, if I know if he's coming out with a record, I'm gonna hit him. I'm gonna email him. I'm gonna, IM him or some DM him and be like, "Here's my number. Call me." And I'll be like, "Okay, cool. You got your publishing right? Okay, who's your publisher? Did you get your samples cleared? Who cleared your samples?" Like right now, the first single off my new album, I can't put out yet because the sample is being cleared. But I knew where to go to get the sample cleared. And I'm not talking about a middleman like you go to soandso.com and get it. I actually went to the people who own the masters, who own the rights, and had a conversation with them and did all of my paperwork on my own.
Because even in today's world, we're listening to what's Meg Thee Stallion. She's going through some of the same issues that artists years ago were going
and that's the thing right there, that I feel like it's too much information out there now to be in that position, unless you're looking at it like, look, I'm gonna take this L and it's gonna open the door to do A, B, C, and D, and then I'll make my money this way. that's one thing. But if you come into it still thinking, most people think like, oh, it won't happen to me. They think like, oh, the label is gonna like me so much
that they're gonna be.
Yeah, people look at it like the labels like you in the sense of, I like you so much, I'm gonna invest this money. You're gonna make millions, and we're gonna try to figure out a way to make millions as well. And that's not how it works.
And you have to. Everything can't be about money. And this another thing Troy said to me: if you chase money, you'll always keep chasing it.
Facts. But what you gotta understand is that it takes money. If you can understand that part of it, then you'll be fine. And that's another thing that happens too. People are chasing the money, but not even understanding how it works. Like most people don't even understand the basic structure of a record contract. And then I never wanted to be duped. You know what I mean? I never wanted to get to a point where I don't know how my record got on the radio, or how. I always said to people, my favorite relationships is with recording engineers, managers, and promoters, and producers, and songwriters. The artists are cool, it's great to meet them. But if you went and asked your favorite artist, most of the time when you growing up, hey, how did that record get on the radio? They'd be like, I mean, you know, I got a team, and you can ask him over there, or ask her right there who did it. I never wanted to be that guy. I wanted to be able to be like, well, basically what I did was A, B, C, and D, go directly to the source. So I never wanted to be duped.
And how did you come into your career that way, or was there those learning?
Always. Again, you know, with my dad, I looked around when I was 10 years old and was like, Dad, you guys made all these albums, and you sold some records. Where's the money? He's like, what money? Where's the money you made? He said, well, there's a difference between us making money and generating money. We generated a nice little amount of money. We didn't see it. What do you mean you didn't see the money? Why didn't you see the money? So when he did that, as I was growing, we would do our own research. Me and him would sit and we would watch things, and we would read the stories, and then sometimes he would, you know, be kind enough to let me meet certain people, and they could tell me the real, you know. But I you know, for me, I was like, okay, when it's my time to do this thing, I want to be able to know. There's no way for me, being a songwriter as well, that I'm gonna give you the rights to a song that I wrote.
Right.
Or if I paid for the recording of it, you own it.
Right.
So you want me to create a song, pay for it, and record it, and give it to you guys to make all of the money off of? For me, that makes no sense. See, this is why they sign kids, because they don't know. You know what I mean? It's easy to sign a Justin Bieber at 15, 16 years old, as opposed to a 35-year-old Justin Timberlake, who's gonna be like, oh, no, you can't play with me like that. You know what I mean? It's easy to sign 21-year-old Snoop Dogg as opposed to 50-year-old Snoop Dogg. Yep. So I would much rather have the mindset of 50-year-old Snoop Dogg than 21-year-old Snoop Dogg. So, I mean, you look at Prince, you look at Michael Jackson. They literally left the blueprint on the business here. They used to tell you, look, these labels, Michael was saying it all the time, these labels don't care nothing about you. If you can help it, don't sign. If you do it this way. Prince would be like, look, if you're going to sign, make sure you own your masters, you own your publishing, because time and time again, our favorite artists are broke.
Right.
Yeah.
And most of the fees fall on the artists. Most artists make 12. You know how much you make a record, a copy? You know?
Almost. I mean,
12 cents.
Most of them.
12 cents a copy. Out of that 12 cents, you pay the engineer, you pay the songwriter, you pay the photographer, you pay the budget of the videos back, you pay all of that back. So after you done sold these millions of records, you still owe the label.
Yeah.
Right.
And you're in debt.
Yeah.
You are in debt, because they'll be like, oh, you have $2 million in debt. I tell you what, we'll give you the $2 million, but you're gonna have to record another album for us.
But I see a lot of artists now where they barter with each other to help record each other's records. and help work with each other, getting it out there.
Absolutely.
Getting around.
And it's our responsibility as artists to share the wealth. I don't have anything that I do musically that I haven't told somebody how to do. There are rappers that I know or singers that I know that would hit me when my album came out like, hey, I loved your work. Who did the recording? I'm just shooting the information. Who did the mixes? Who did the mastering? Who shot the cover? How'd you get it manufactured? How'd you get it online? Anything. And most of the time I'll call them because I don't want to be like so impersonal where I'm just sending you information and you don't know how to set it up. So I'll call and be like, look, this is what you say when you call. This is what you need when you're mastering the record. This is what you look for. This is how much you should spend on that. This is what you should do here. This is the concept behind that. Because to me, the wealth is sharing it.
Right.
And it needs to be more than. And like you said earlier, most people are competitive. You know, you got people within singing groups and rap groups that are competing with their mans. I shouldn't be competing with you. And that's the way I look at it now. That's why people hate Southern rap, but that's why they win. Because all of them are signed, all of them are, one, Luda introduced Gucci Mane to him, Gucci introduced Jeezy to him, Jeezy introduced him to her, you see what I'm saying? That's how that works.
There's room at the table for everyone.
Facts.
And I think that's a rule that we should really live by in the arts field, especially being black artists, because we aren't invited to the other table. So we have ourselves to work with.
And that's another thing, we got to stop selling our culture. We got to stop selling it to the masses in the sense where we're doing anything it takes to get to be like them.
We're not even selling it. It's being
we're giving it away, clearly. But to me, it's like, I'm an R&B singer. I look at it like, I want my R&B lovers to like it. If they just so happen to be black or white or Hispanic or Asian, so be it. But I'm not about to be like, oh, this is for the white people. This is for this person, or this is for them over here necessarily. Now, if I'm influenced or inspired on a trip to the UK by something or Japan, that's one thing. But to literally just give it away and sitting up here looking stupid when they make all of the money off of it, because you listen to a lot of the stuff now, it's the reggae undertones mixed with pop, mixed with R&B. They selling millions of records while we barely selling hundreds of thousands of records. We keep giving away the sauce.
So Troy, and from year 1 to now going into year 17, 18, what do you know differently about production outside of your music production career? But what do you know differently about theater and producing art in that way?
Planning, and with your planning, making sure that you plan your budgets. You plan your budgets, you work your budgets, you stick to your budgets. And
have you always been that good with your own money?
No.
Okay.
No, not at all. I had to grow into it. I had to grow into it.
So let's take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BeExposedRadio.com. I'm serious.
This is a Poverty EMT exclusive. Next stop, Texaco, strapped up, you already know. Fuck niggas hate, that's how it goes. Goes with me, yeah, it's time to go.
Old nigga chose by another nigga, bitch. Damn, this chopper got 50 round clip. So the smiley and the syrup got me getting shorty. Ain't no I pop them Xanax and I'm sleeping on me. Love in a hood full of hate. Pray to God that he open up the gates.
That's how it goes. Goes with me. Yeah, it's time to go.
City, got my mind strong, take a time bomb. Fuck the pot, I'd rather play the kitty. I don't want the city, don't call me Diddy. Yeah, I rap my city, ready to show them something they ain't ready for. Nigga boys first, so you can't ignore it. Talking shit like I'm fixing to it. Shag a bit, I can see me torn. Torn cups, shades on, shirt off, strapped up, Molly down, blowing strong, ride around. The demonstration, hold 50 rounds, I'm a fool with it. Got ratchet niggas that's cool with it. You got a cold heart till that ooh hit it. Stop fucking with it, got my mind set, see my mind status at a high rate. Next stop, Texaco, strapped up, you already know. Fuck niggas hate, that's how it goes. Goes with me, yeah, it's time to go.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
The only thing that make that piano worth something is them carvings Papa Willie Boy put on there. That's what make it worth something. Papa Boy Charles brought that piano into the house. Now I'm supposed to build on what he left me. Now, Bernice, if you say to me, Boy Willie, look, I give out lessons on the piano, it helped me make the rent or whatever, then I have to say, well, Bernice using that piano, she building on it. But Doctor said you ain't touched that piano the whole time. It's been sitting up here. Now why you want to stand in my way?
What beast was then that made you break this enterprise to me? When you understood then you were a man, and to be more than what you were, you would be so much more of a man. Nor time nor place to then and here, and yet you would make proof. They have made themselves, and that their fitness now does unmake you. I've given suck, and know how tender 'tis to love the babe that milks me. I would, while it was smiling in my face, have plucked my nipple from its boneless gums and dashed the brains out. Had I so sworn as you have done to this. We failed. But screw your carriage to the sticking place and will not fail. When Duncan is asleep.
Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show here live only on BeExposedRadio.com. I'm your host, Nate. Joining us now is Josh. Funny as hell, Dixon. How's it going?
It's good, man. How are you?
I'm great. Tell us a little bit about yourself, sir.
All right, man. I'm Joshua Dixon. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. I'm an actor, comedian here. Opened up for Larry Lancaster. And currently now I am working on, I just finished the weekend, opening weekend for piano lesson, August Wilson's piano lesson. And June I'm rocking and rolling with the Real Nigga Show.
Right now, because you're doing some
filming.
Yeah.
Just finished doing the film part of Real Nigga Show, a stand-up part that I do in the show. I don't know if Troy touched on the multimedia stuff that we'll be doing in this production of it, but we shot a stand-up spot at a club with myself
Next
and audience
Phase,
members
shout
at
out.
Next Phase. Yeah, shout out to Next Phase for opening up their doors and their food. Yeah. But so we shot that and just getting ready to put it together and get this show on the road, man.
So this has been, Troy just said the number 17 years for you?
17.
Growing up in this production, because
I was 17.
Right. So how does that feel 17 years later? Coming back a grown man, bills, responsibilities.
Yeah, it feels good because we have created a piece that is timeless. And so
but ever changing.
Yeah.
Evolving.
Ever evolving. But the core of our message has stayed the same from 2003 till 2020. And so it's like all of our baby. You know what I mean? We watched it in the delivery room. We sat there at the window watching. And took it home, did some nurturing with it, and now it's grown. And now we're at a point where it is needed for the place and space that we're in right now as Black America.
So starting out, you barely out of high school, but now years later, you're in the school system. So how is it now kind of nurturing people who come from where you come from and kind of have the mindset that you had?
As far as, now what you asking?
So I'm asking you, so where you were at 17, now you're in charge of those same type of people.
Okay. It's different. Because the mindset that I had at 17, they don't have now.
Well, they didn't have that strong Sandra Meekins.
Well, yeah. Or just strong household or a strong mother, father, uncle, whoever was raising back when I was coming up. If you took the child, you literally, raised them and nurtured them as if they were your own. We don't do that now as far as the majority.
Right.
Especially where I work. Well, I work over on the east side. And it's a different environment. It's a different mindset. And I noticed that when I started working at the school over there, that west side mentality and east side mentality are two totally different mentalities. And I don't think a lot of people who a lot of late bloomers of Baltimore don't understand it. They just think that it's Baltimore is everybody, that there's a distinction. And so I had to adjust. I found myself doing a lot more redirection, a lot more bringing the kid that's at 1,000 down to at least 500. You know what I mean? So it's a task, man. And like they say, and I don't think that this term it's been used loosely in the past, but now it's really needing to take heed that it takes a village. It really does. So
are you worried that this time away is going?
I'm not worried. We're talking about as far as this pandemic thing. What I'm hoping that would happen is that the time that we have away, that the guardians and the parents and the child care providers or whoever are taking this time to instill into them what they need, not only health-wise, but intellectually, what they're going to need in order for them to go back and continue school. Just even with manners, man. Like I'm just talking about something as simple as manners. You know what I mean? Or just Oh man, well the communication is gone. It's dead. It's over. You know what I mean? You can cancel Christmas, man. You know what I mean? Because they have been so bombarded with Facebook and Instagram and these visual things that they have lost their communication skills. And so now I think what needs to happen is that there needs to be public speaking classes in school. And I don't know why they have not seen the need for them to start early speaking or learning how to communicate at an earlier age, not waiting until your first semester of college to take public speaking is kind of crazy to me.
That's what I've taught now, because you can't even get to my theater class because most of them don't know how to present themselves and communicate or talk.
So both of you being educators, is it a numbers game? It's like a numbers game in dealing with schools and you know how the kids, you know, their curriculum and things like that. How many kids you got in the building?
Well, depending on if you get over the projected amount of students you needed, then you get a little bit more money. If you go under that number, they take money from you. So the numbers game is
it's real.
Yeah, but just the resource level is just crazy because we're now dealing with schools that are now new, but we're not able to give the amount of information we had to because we're now wondering if they're going to take money away from us. Yeah. So these programs that we started with, are we going to be able to keep them at the end of the school year based on the money that we don't have now?
Yeah, well, you know, now I think that we if you see that the children are not responding to the arts in your school, and I see this I've seen it firsthand. I don't think it's a good idea to keep it. And this is my thing. What happens is the kids start to go to this resource because it's not considered an actual class. That's one. So in their mind, I don't even gotta go here for real.
Right. Because I don't
need this. Because I don't need this. Two, the teacher can't handle us. So most of the time you're doing classroom management. For 30 minutes. The class is 45 to an hour. So you only got about 15 to 20 minutes left to do what you came to do. Once you get rolling into what you want to do and they quiet and whatever, it's time to go. So now you've wasted 30 to 45 minutes on classroom instruction when you can't even get to your lesson. So now they know, oh, I know how we gonna play this. We're not even going, no, we're not doing none of this. We're going to take out our phone. We're going to give it whatever. We're going to keep quiet though. But we ain't doing what he would ever doing. Just y'all whatever. So now they have learned how to finagle the system. You know what I'm saying? So now the resource class that's for theater or music is now a recess class. Because you can't teach. They don't want to learn. They don't want to learn. It's man, it's crazy, man.
And the same thing is actually happening in our regular classes as well.
You know what? I just had a conversation with a good friend of mine. She's a teacher, and she was talking about how, like you said, most of her time is spent
classroom management.
Not even just that, but just trying to even tap into the brain and the understanding of why. She was saying that she had a girl. I'm old. She told, remember back in the day, if you sitting with your friend and they tell you to move, right?
Yeah.
She said she had a little girl cry. And she's like, why are you crying? Because you told me to move. she looked at it like, what is it that is so, why are you so dependent on people that if I put you somewhere else, you can't deal?
See, it might be something deeper.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing that we were trying to tap into, and
the trauma.
It's so much of that. It's so much.
How much of her personal life is she being
It's so much.
around and moved?
Not to change gears necessarily, but it's so much PTSD in our community that we have no clue about. We so broken, we don't even know we need to be fixed.
Oh, of course.
And that's been a problem. So when you talk about the arts, a lot of times these kids don't even know what that means because they don't know how to even express.
They've never been to a play.
They've never, and they don't even know how to express what they're feeling.
Of course.
You know what I mean? These kids are growing up in environments where their moms are 22, 23. That's
right.
Their dads are 22, 23. Some of them are being raised just by dad.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm saying Troy like this ain't what I'm used to. So what is it for you to hear? Or, because what you are thinking, and I can hear your thoughts. That's CPS for us now.
Mm-hmm.
The image of even yelling at a child is a no-no. Now somebody like Josh could get away with that, but I can't. It is all about their relationship with you and how they feel about you or themselves in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
But what worked for you at Douglas and so on, it could still work, but it's so
for years.
far removed.
I think it's far removed. That's why I'm not in the system anymore. That's why I got the hell out.
Listen, I worked in psych for years, and that you talk about deep, and half of those guys didn't even realize certain things about themselves until you pull it out.
Yeah.
You know, and
we
had guys that would come in and be killers, but they would cling to the staff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we call them junior staff, where they wouldn't allow anybody to say something slick to you. You could doze off. They're gonna make sure that you up before the supervisor come. You ask them to do something, they ain't gonna give you no rap. You know what I mean? They're gonna do what you ask them to do, because this is the first time they've had any structure. They've had anybody say good morning to you. How are you doing? The first time they've ever had to wake up on time. The first time that someone acknowledged that it's okay that you're not the best reader in the world. We're gonna get through this. It's just not enough of that in our community.
And that's one of the things, like in doing a show called A Real Nigga Show, we address those things. There's a piece in the show called The Madman, and we go deep. You know, we go deep in terms of dealing with background and home life and things like that. And then when you're looking at a child trying to figure out, okay, why is this child like this? This is a child I see Monday through Friday for this set of time. But dig a little deeper.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean?
So is that there are a lot of different themes within the Real Nigga Show. Now, as an actor versus somebody who helped workshop this, and then the person that's standing out as the kind of the curator of this, are these the type of conversations that y'all have in that rehearsal? Or are you bringing this energy in with you, coming from your various perspectives?
It's got to be talked about before.
Oh, yeah, man. Like, even before we even do a piece, we had a topic, or what the name of the let's just say house nigga. Right? All right, so as we sit around, we'll, workshop, what do we think a house nigga is? You know what I mean? Did we do the research? You know what I mean? On the house nigga, where it derived from, where it came from, how it's, just that whole thing. And then we come up with the piece, or somebody writes the piece, or whatever. We all collaborate on writing the piece based on the research and the observations that we've done within ourselves or within the group, and then we, produce the piece.
And that's the thing that I feel like needs to be taught in school too. Your emotions and just how to deal and understanding the nucleus of how we got here. For me, in the last couple of months, even with recording this new album, I got sat down. I said, God sat me down. I ain't gonna say how he did it, but he did it. And I was sitting at home and I'm thinking, I took the situation as it's God. So when it happened, I literally pointed out because I'm like, okay, what is this thing? So then I started to look within me. And that was the first time I'd ever been so honest with myself. And that was a hard thing to do as a grown man. Forget all of the singing and the music and all of that other stuff. I didn't realize that since I was about 18 or 19 years old, I was running from myself. I was running from things that I'd known had happened in my life that I just was never ready to admit to myself. So then I started holding myself accountable for understanding who I am and where these behaviors of mine or these thoughts or actions of mine derive from. But then I also started holding the people in my life that were older than me accountable for never really talking about it or acknowledging certain things, or they did it in a roundabout way. You know what I mean? And started talking to my mother about certain things, started talking to my father about certain things, started talking to my grandmother about things, my siblings about things. And that's so important because that's what we spend most of our lives doing, is running.
Running, yep.
Most of your life most of us hate to sit still. This next 2 weeks is gonna be hard for adults, not for kids, because they're still developing. But when you're an adult and you gotta sit still and it gets quiet and you can't go to the gym, you can't go to the bar, you can't go to the movies, you gotta sit with yourself. That's
It's the perfect time,
thing.
man.
It is.
I'm not going to say their name or whatever, but me and a famous pastor.
Amen.
Real well-known pastor.
Amen.
Real good friend of mine, like my family. We text, talk, back and forth. And he said, Josh, everybody's going out and they're getting toilet paper and they're getting hand sanitizer. They getting canned goods and they stocking up on water. But you let me know how many of those people are going to open up a planner and plan out the next 5 to 10 years of their life with the time that they got.
That part.
So now is the time that whatever you, this is the time that you take to create what you have been wanting to create.
Strategies.
You know what I'm saying? You got the time. You know what I mean? You ain't got to wait to get off work to go to the computer. No, you got, there's no work. You out of work for 2 weeks.
This is all by design.
Oh, brother.
In so many different ways.
Oh, see, the thing is this,
so
right?
many different ways.
See, the thing is this, right? And I've been, I've always been curious about things that aren't said. I don't take things for. I got to look at it for myself. You know what I'm saying? So I can determine with my eye and with my ear if this thing is what it is, right? So I'm into the whole conspiracy thing. Well, it interests me. It's very interesting.
Yeah, because you never know.
You never know.
You never know.
Right? But they had this thing that I listened to probably when I was in college. When I was in college, I'd be in the library all day looking up all types of just everything. You know what I mean? And I ran up on this thing called population control.
I literally, on the way, not to cut you off, on my way here.
Oh yeah.
I was talking to my brother.
Oh yeah.
About that. Because he was saying to me, he was like, yo, what do you think about them closing everything and all that other stuff? I said, do you honestly think that this is about that? Because if that was the case, they would have closed. And I think I was telling y'all, right? They would have closed it for H1N1, swine and bird flu. They ain't closing down for AIDS. They ain't closing nothing down for herpes. They ain't closing nothing down for syphilis. They ain't closing nothing down for cancer. They ain't closing nothing down for nothing else. And you're closing something, you're closing everything down for something nobody even knows how you get it.
So check it out, though. Because I think that a lot of black folk are ignorant to what this is, right? So when you look into it, you gotta look into it and do the research on your own, because they ain't gonna tell you everything. So they got the whole world in a panic, right? The world
absolutely
is panicking,
absolutely,
right? But let's go back to the art of war and those tactics that you use on people to if you want to get something done.
Fear.
If you want to get something done,
fear-based.
You get them niggas scared. The shit don't even have to happen. It don't even have to be going on. Just get them scared. Them being scared enough. And see, what people don't know is this. This is why they say old people die faster from this than younger children. Before I go there, coronavirus and COVID-19 are two different viruses.
That part.
They come from the same origin of coronavirus.
Same root.
But COVID-19 is a whole different thing than a coronavirus.
Same root, different leaves.
The coronavirus we all have. They got the shit on the Lysol for years. For years, before you even knew what this thing was, it's been on Lysol for years.
I keep likening it to like some of the powers that be getting together. Like, look, the markets ain't making money like it used to.
See, people think that. Check this out.
Yeah.
People think that this is just like that the higher ups don't do this type of stuff.
Yeah.
Like they don't,
plan and strategy.
Bro. But I'm talking about like as far as sinister wise. Sinister wise. You know what I'm saying? So what have they been trying to get into play for years? What have they been trying to do to us for years?
Control us.
By what?
By scaring us.
Scaring us, but what are they?
Killing us.
Population control. But there's a thing that they're trying to do that they want to implant in us, right?
Right.
The RDH chip. The chip, right?
Yeah.
So the chip has a thing where it has all of your information, your medical, everything. Once the chip shut down, you shut down. Once it's implanted into your system. So this is like your identification card. You don't need nothing. You can go through whatever. If it's like you walk into one of them things and it's like them virtual movies where you walk in, oh, he's good, he has his whatever. That's what they're leading. See, this is I've been following this since I've been since 17. You know what I'm saying? Just this type of thing that could happen, and I'm seeing it firsthand happen, right?
Look at the license. Look at your driver's license situation.
Exactly.
You go to the MVA and give them your bills and all this other stuff and your account information. They scan it and you leave.
They scan it.
What? And then they just sent us the census stuff.
Yep.
And all of a sudden,
coronavirus pops up. But also, it is election time too.
And here's another thing. Think about this. You notice they don't show you who they saying died from it?
Of course.
Yeah.
When did they never did that?
Of course.
If a plane crashed and 217 people on it, it's going to be a page of all 217 people, where they lived at, who they loved, what happened before they died, right? Now, you have no clue. You have no idea you have it. And then it's peppered with celebrities and all. Like one guy said to me, because I was saying I was going on Friday, and he was like, "You're not afraid of the coronavirus?" I said, "Brother, let me tell you one thing." I said, "I'm black and I ain't a basketball player. I'm good. I'm not worried about that.
I'm good.
Because there's so many other things I could catch.
That can take you up out of here.
A bullet.
Quickly.
That's way more dangerous than
the coronavirus. Take you up out of here.
A car accident.
Done.
A plane crash.
Done.
All those types of things. Man, you can fight today, you can hit me in my head, it's over.
It's over.
And they open me up, they gonna be like, ain't no corona in him.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the beer, but I don't even drink that. But I just think that the whole thing, just like you, is like a...
Now, I'm not saying that it's a... I'm not saying it's not serious.
Take us to break real quick.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's go to a quick commercial break. Let's pay some bills before the government tap into. So we'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BigExposedRadio.com.
You're like an internal bleeder. Can't see your pain, but it can silently kill ya. So deeply wounded, but don't say a thing. Too afraid of what the people may say or think. So you just sit there and you suffer in silence. Your pride won't let you just uncover your secret. Don't wanna look weak in your image, it ain't worth losing. So you just act as if it's nothing happening. God sees you, and God hears you. Yes, God loves you. You're like an internal bleeder. Can't see your pain, but it can silently kill ya. Suicidal, depressed, but you won't say a thing. Too afraid of what the people may say or think. You feel alone even though the people surround you. Popping pills every night even though you know they can't solve it. The emotional pain, it just seems way too heavy. Your mind is racing, wanna scream, somebody help me. God sees you, and God hears you. Yes, God loves you. These timeless people sit right under our noses. We don't find out till we're on IG scrolling. We post a few memes, but then it keeps on happening. Something's gotta change, we gotta start talking and telling the truth without the fear of judgment. Gotta come together and really start loving and heal these people cause they slowly dying. Help them believe that their life is worth living.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Rather, his day's hard journey soundly invites him. His two chamberlains will eye with wine and waste out, so convinced that memory, the water of the brain, shall be a thing, and the receipts of reason a limbeck only. What's not can you and I perform upon the unguarded Duncan? What's not put upon his spongy officers who shall bear the guilt of our great weapon?
God's bread. It makes me mad. Day, night, work, play. Alone in company still, my care hath been to have a match. And having now provided a gentleman, youthful and nobly lined, stuffed, as they say, with honorable portion, as one's thought would wish a man, And then to have a wretched, puling fool, a whining mammoth in her fortune's tinder to answer, oh, I cannot love. I pray that you pardon me. Graze where you will, you shall not house with me.
The last time I had it, I caught the flu 2 times in a month.
I got it before.
How do you get that?
I got it before the H1N1 hit, and they were trying to get people to take it, get it again and all that stuff. And then when I seen that they gave the person a needle and the nigga start walking backwards, and I said, "Oh hell no, I'm not about to take that shit."
Welcome back to
Pack of legs, bro.
To the Artist Exchange Radio Show here live, only on BigExposedRadio.com. Sometimes I experiment by mixing certain people together, and now I have a conspiracy theorist panel, and it's conversation that I've been waiting to hear. But it's definitely.
You know what I think it really is, brother, over there? I think it's things that make you go,
Yeah.
Not even so much a conspiracy. It's kind of like a,
we trick ourselves.
It can't be. It's more to it. You know
of course, there's more to it.
It's like when
this is the distraction.
Yeah. It's like when you hear on the news somebody got killed, right? You like, oh man, that's horrible. And then sometimes when you know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that's like, you know what really happened was, and you like. Oh, I ain't saying he should have died, but I get it.
Yeah. You know, so today's topic was basically the road to success. It's not easy, that mumble jumble. We have Troy Burton here, Mr. Producer Extraordinaire. That's, in my opinion, after just working with him, and Josh could say, well, this is your first time, so we've been through this. But I think what I've seen in the last couple months is going to change how black theater can possibly happen in our cities like this. And it's not just the content or just the business, but just everything together. I've never worked on a production where I didn't have a concern. Now, I felt like Troy was going to hit somebody at some point, but outside of that, that's normal.
I used to do
that.
That's
black theater.
I don't do that anymore.
But and it wasn't even us. But I'm just saying, I felt like a blow was about to go. But outside of that, I've never worked in this capacity before. So in my mind, we need to show this. You need to show people this, because it's the downfall of theater. I'm tired of seeing sponges in the middle of your forehead, raggedy wigs. I'm tired of seeing people just doing what they see get done and just multiplying that and just throwing whatever.
Medea in it.
Well, I mean, that was a lane, but again, everybody else watered down what Medea was doing. And now we see anything. You just throw a title on it.
Because people are not comfortable with being them. Even if you look at hip hop, but you don't know that. Right. You try. Even when you look at hip hop, it used to be a time where if you sound like somebody, you automatically dismissed. You were trash. There's no way that Jay and Nas could sound alike. There's no way that Big and Tupac could sound alike. They could use the same producers, but you couldn't have the same record. You see what I'm saying? Now, everybody sounds like the Migos. All the producers sound like Metro Boomin, who sounds like Zaytoven, who sounds like Lex Luger, who's so on and so forth.
I
don't know none of that.
But you know that sound. But you know the sound.
Yep.
Everything is. I remember when that sound came out. I heard it. I was in Atlanta. I was in Atlanta, but I heard it in Atlanta. Strip club. And I remember being like, that's dope. But nobody else was using it. So when I came home, I was telling my brothers, like, yo, it's this group in Atlanta called the Migos. They remind me of like Bone Thugs and Harmony, but maybe not as talented. They sound like them. So when I first heard them, I was like, all right. But then everybody started being the Migos. Everybody dresses alike. And I'm not saying you never had copycats. I mean, you look at the disco era. You can't tell one record from the other.
There was always another version of... Everybody's talking about Roxanne Shante. That was a big copycat.
But every Roxanne was different though. That was the thing about it though. It was the real Roxanne didn't sound like Roxanne Shante. That didn't sound like UTFO.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? But now everybody's cool with, oh, they did it. That's how they did it to be successful. I'm gonna do that.
Yep.
Everybody's blueprint of success is different. You look at we probably all took different ways to get down here to get to this same street. Everybody took a different direction. We still got to the same spot. We still doing the same thing. But again, people don't know that. I did a show some years, maybe like 2-3 years ago, and it was this young rap group that was up there, and they were rapping with the vocal track on, and they were trying to rap and look like everybody else, and I think they got booed or something. And they got off stage, and they were all upset, and they were standing, and I was about to go back on stage to do another song, and I stopped them and I said, listen, take a year to figure yourselves out. Take your old vocals off, and don't be afraid to let people hear your real voice. Come back in a year and we'll talk. People ain't telling people that. Like you said, people are saying, if you do it like they did.
Well,
if I do my show like Troy did it, you know what I mean? Somebody gonna do a Real Brother show soon. If yours is successful, because it's like,
oh, it's been done.
It's
been done.
They're not gonna have a Josh. They're gonna have a Justin. You feel what I'm saying? Like that's what we doing, and I, you know, that's affecting us.
We've seen the knockoffs of
yeah. I mean, that's flattering. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, I mean, but I mean, if you're gonna do it, then you know, my thing is that you should always pay homage to the people who've come before you to set the blueprint, and don't try to act like you don't. Not even them, but don't try to act like you ain't see what we did. Right. Try to act like it's just by happenstance that come on. Come on.
Like you said those words before, Josh.
But you know what? But that's like the blueprint of all of this stuff now, because everybody is doing that. They will deny that.
Well, because there's a I've been listening to Rick Ross Mastermind album, right? And in the beginning of it, it's this guy that's talking on the beginning of it, and he says that in order to be successful, you can use somebody else's story. You can use somebody else's how they think, how they do things, for you to become successful like them. But remember, in doing this thing, that nothing is free. Everything comes with a price. Right? And I look at what we were just saying. I could sit here, and that's just like if you take an unknown comedian, right? Somebody that nobody know, right? And he sits and he watches Kevin Hart, right? His style, everything, his whole everything, how he goes about his material, everything, just his whole whatever. It has nothing to do with him. He's taking Kevin's outer appearance, what he talks about. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And now he's studying this. He's studying how did Kevin get to where he got to. Oh, he did this. He did that. So now he starts to emulate all those type of things for him to catapult himself to success. You know what I'm saying? Is it right or is it wrong? I mean, at some point,
as we do it, we call it the Meisner or
but at some point you're going to have to look in the mirror and look at who you are. You know what I'm saying? So you've accumulated all this money from mimicking Kevin Hart, but at the end of the day, when it's all over with, who are you? You know what I'm saying?
You know what's funny is a lot of times the people that you emulate, you'll never be as successful or special as them. I mean, everybody has influences. You know, like you would. I had played one of my songs before you came in here, and he was like, "I don't think you're trying to sound like any of your influences, but I can hear your influences." Of course, but I don't go in the studio and be like, "What would Jodeci do?" If I was Donnie had the way how would I sing this? I take little things that I feel artistically I could use with what I do and make it mine. But I never go in with the mind frame of being anybody but myself.
And as artists, sometimes subconsciously, there are things that we see or hear other artists do, and when you're creating your own, it has a strong influence.
Absolutely.
You know, it's not like you're sitting there to say, "Hey, we're gonna do this."
Absolutely.
You know, it's in your subconscious.
Yeah. It is. It is.
So I'm gonna throw it back over to you, Troy, in terms of just the growth of where we are as artists. So let's just start with where we are right now. Many artists are out of work across the board. I don't think any of us are working except for maybe painters and musicians playing new songs or writing. But right now, how do you suggest we move forward as an arts community, specifically a black arts community, with this time? I mean, Josh just said it. Prepare. Start journaling. But what do you think?
But right now, this is an important time where artists, they go back to the source of where they create art. You know, and sometimes
if there was one,
right? You know, and then, well, you're not gonna have anything if you don't have a source.
Right.
But right now, I mean, to honestly take a look and say, okay, what do I want to create? And because sometimes you do have to produce on demand because you're beating that clock. But then right now, this is where you're going to find a lot of extremely deep creative things that are happening. This is where the true artists, not people who are just in the game to mimic stuff, where they really get into it and they're going to dig deep and dig a little bit deeper. And so you're going to find a lot of great work coming out of this because, you know, I mean, a lot of our greatest works have come from just a lot of tragedies, a lot of, you know, and this is a tragedy.
Right. But a lot of us are being what we think the grant needs us to be, the organization, the audience. But how do we push it beyond that? You said something to me when we was talking to him early, like, get out your own way. Do something great for you in this moment, Nate. Yep. But how do we do that in a moment where we've been doctrined by whatever art organization we work for? It's easy to say that, but in the thought process, when you're trying to break those bad habits, how do we move forward and recreate who we are in this moment?
I look at it as a situation where each person, each individual got to go their own path for that. And then once it hits you at that point, that it just boils to the top, and then boom,
right?
You go for yourself. It's like there is no real book on it. You know, you have to write your own story. I mean, somebody just said that earlier about writing your own story. But you got to write your own story with that, and then dealing with all of this, it's quiet the mind, quiet. You know, that the inner space within you, and then it'll come out. Like right now, I'm using this time I say, okay, as a producer, that I'm working on my strategy to push my show. Right now, I know ain't a damn person gonna buy a ticket right now this week, or next week probably. But as we continue, maybe
you never know.
You never know, yeah.
You never know.
But at the same time,
oh no, they are, because my godmother is buying her tickets this week. So there are people.
But
everybody not out of work.
But I'm also thinking that I do know with this show is that it's taking place in June. Hopefully, it will take place in June.
It's taking place in June.
Yeah.
We want to speak that into existence.
Thank you.
There you go.
I received that. And people are going to want to get out, and they're going to want to laugh, and they're going to want to feel again.
Could you push the date up?
I could, but you know, I've already thought about it. As a producer, I already gave myself a target date to say I got to see what's going on by April 25th. I have to make a decision where I'm pushing this thing. So I'm sitting back a little bit now, but already in my phone is April 25th. I got to go to Plan B if seeing what's, you know, because it wouldn't be smart to say, hey, you know, let's keep pushing, and I know it's not going to happen.
And it's unfortunate that we're in this space, but I think like I've been saying I need spring break. I need it like I need water and air and space
you
away
got
from
it. You got a
people.
big ass spring break.
And I kept saying it. And then
You
Friday,
got-
you know,
you
we
got
had
spring
PD
break.
on Friday, but I was saying to myself like, okay, shit, I've been asking for this and I got it. So what am I gonna do with it? But it's just the process of now being in it and that immediate emergency to just get it done.
Yeah.
And you know, how every day you say, well, I'm gonna do this part of my room and I'm gonna clean up this part.
Yes.
But now it's the application.
Yes,
Of what you've been asking
and for anybody who's watching,
Mm-hmm.
public service announcement. Maryland Health Connection has opened up.
Yes. Yeah.
The healthcare for coronavirus emergency. If you don't have health care, if you're uninsured, you can go online until April the 15th to Maryland Health Connection, and sign up and get you covered. That'll be the smart thing for you to do in this time if you ain't got no damn job.
And that's
The thing
immediate.
with-
Once you sign up and you approve, and it's not an approval process.
Yeah,
It's instant.
it's instant. They give it to you instant. They have your start date and your date when it'll expire. If you don't have no job and you just sitting at home with no coronavirus, twiddling your feet, rolling weed, Indeed and Glassdoor is waiting for you.
Yeah. Go get them glasses.
So go get
yes.
So go and
That mental
you
health
have
is
time.
included.
Yes, you have time to get a job and get your own health care.
This is work on you season.
Yeah.
Work on me season.
Yeah.
That's what
so
we
you got
need.
till April
Work on
15th
me
for
season.
healthcare. People out there who are listening, if there anybody who's on live that are watching, jot down MarylandHealthConnection.org. That's MarylandHealthConnection.org. Pass this message on to your family, friends, or co-workers who don't have health care. They have till April the 15th.
Thank you, sir. I was gonna go shoot it back over to you because he wanted to kind of make the connection with the Ohio. Y'all
Yes.
going to Ohio with the Real Nigga Show, which y'all already did for a run of the show.
Twice. This is our third time. Yeah, it's our third time in Ohio. Yeah. Ohio connection. I'm a graduate of Wilberforce University.
Okay.
With a degree in psychology. And while there, I was sitting on the ramp of the boys' dorm, and this young lady comes up. I can hear her like how she's talking, and it's real like Baltimore, like it's Baltimore, and I'm just like, yo, where are you from, ma'am? Like, wait a minute. She said, I'm from Baltimore, and I'm just like, yo, are you serious? She's like, yes, I'm from Baltimore. I'm like, okay, cool. So we get to talking, get to talking. Come to find out, this girl's mom, well, she knows, we were running through names of people in the family. So I got to my cousin's name, which is Desmond.
Okay.
And she's like, Desmond. She's like, what's his last name? And I'm like, Neil. And she's like, hold up. I'm like,
okay, now I understand.
so she like, do he go by any other name? Do he got like a nickname or something? And I'm like, well, they call him Papa. So she like, nigga, hold up.
My nigga.
Hold up. Your cousin is Papa? And I'm like, yeah, his mother's name is Glenda Neal. And she was like, hold up, yo. Me and this nigga used to go to Paradox with a group of, when the Paradox was Paradox, you know what I'm saying? Like Paradox Hammerjacks, where they would be going buck wild in the middle of the floor. And she was just like, yo. So we started talking some more. She calls up, I think her mom called or something. Her mom started asking me questions. So then I told her mom that my grandmother, I was raised by my grandmother whose name is Sandra Meekins. she let out this big scream on the phone. She's like, Sherry, oh my God, oh my gosh. She was like, do you know that his mother was my flower girl in my wedding.
Your mother.
My mother was the flower girl in her wedding. She played the organ at my mother's wedding. Her and Grandma were in Nathan Carter's class, music class, taking up piano at Morgan. They graduated together. So they were college buddies. Next thing you know, years later, me and her daughter wound up being college buddies. During that time, we were just doing the nigga show. And she said, I'm gonna come down and see it. She is a part of the Alpha Kappa Mu, which is a honors society at the school. She presented it to them, to the board, Wilberforce board. She came and saw it. She was like, "Yo, this would be crazy for what was it? Our homecoming weekend. We got to do this Friday night of our homecoming weekend." That was the first show. That was our first time in Ohio.
Traveling with it?
Yeah, that was the first time traveling. Was with taking it to Ohio at my school in 2005. And so that's how that relationship built. And then from then on, she's just been, saying, hey, we want to bring it out, and then we went out again in
2015.
2015, through her group, which is called the Maroon Arts Group.
Now there was, tell it all. There was no group.
Well, yeah, there was no group.
I'm a director. I'm always director.
there was no group as far as Maroon Arts Group at first. They birthed out of they saw the show and got so much inspired that they built a group, Maroon Arts Group,
which developed into a nonprofit.
Based off of a real nigga show.
African American
nonprofit in Columbus, Ohio. And they're doing some good work, some great work out there.
So is it more of an arts entertainment group, or is it like education? Like what type of?
It's more, I believe, education.
Okay.
More of an educational arts group.
Okay.
And so that's what they, because they have a lot of poets on their bill and educators as well that are on.
And they do a lot of workshops.
They do a lot of workshops and stuff. So that's how we've been. That's our connection. And so introduced her to the cast, to Troy, and so we've just been building that relationship. And so now they are looking to bring a show here to Baltimore. Based around the police brutality.
Okay.
And so that's what we're looking forward to doing as far as that exchange.
And they're celebrating for them. They're celebrating 5 years of their nonprofit. So they wanted this a good way of saying, hey, let's bring the show back and celebrate, our 5th year of developing as a nonprofit. So we said, hey, we'll come, we'll do it.
So what are your dates for Ohio?
Ohio is the 4th, 5th, and 6th, Columbus, Ohio. And then we're going to turn around and come back to Baltimore on the 7th, and then get ready for Baltimore performance on the 12th, 13th, 14th.
So that's June.
Yes.
Okay.
Hope the world is still here.
It ain't going nowhere, unfortunately.
I know, I gotta keep a job.
So we're gonna take a quick commercial break. This is actually our last break. Maybe we can get a little song, a little ditty, a little bop. So we'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BigExposedRadio.com.
Stop. I be up
proceed with caution. Side of lane, I'm exhausted. Poppin' Zenny sand, sipping out the faucet. I'm confused, don't know what I'm doing. Wait, what I'm doing? Got me going where the f I'm going.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Lay hand on heart, advise. And you be mine. I'll give you to my friend. And you'll be not hang, beg, starve, die in the streets. For by my soul I'll ne'er acknowledge thee, nor what is mine shall never do thee good. Think on it. Trust to it. Beseech you. I'll not be forsworn.
Hey, what's up? How y'all doing? Alright, okay. Who am I? Oh.
Hey,
I'm that nigga that live in the basement. Yeah, right off of 25th and Greenmount. Baltimore. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you know that. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, our house don't look too bad, though. Well, that's a law ran down. Yeah, our house worth probably about 45,000. Huh? Oh, no, Mom's written this. Yeah, we've been living here for about 16 years. Sure, it ain't nothing but about $450 a month. You know, Mom's take care of that. Cause I got the brand new Lincoln truck sitting outside, nigga, on dubs, nigga. Shit, baby. Yeah, boy, I keep it shining, boy. I got the 4G. Yeah, boy. Yeah. Everybody jocking that truck. Shit. I only pay about $600 a month. Yeah. No, that's not including, insurance, That's about $300. You know, I was a little short on my payment last month. So I got Moms to, help me out. Shit, I can't lose that truck. You ain't nothing in the hood if you ain't got a banging ride sitting on dubs, nigga. Yeah, ha! Hey! Alright. Yeah. Oh, shit. That was Mom's. Yeah, she get like that sometimes. So y'all gotta be real quiet. Shut the fuck up. Oh, yeah, people say I look like Prop Joe on the wire. I told them niggas. Shit. Nigga, I look like Stringer Bell. Oh, I'm 35.
Yeah.
Whatever. All right, Tanika. Dante. Watch your mouth. That's my little brother and sister. Yeah, they get like that sometimes, running around and shit while I'm trying get some sleep and shit. Yeah. Nigga, you should see when I'm getting ready to go to the bathroom. I gotta use my pee bucket. Shit, I ain't about to be getting up and getting up and can't even go to the bathroom. Shit. Move out. Nigga, you tripping. Nigga, I got it made. Yeah, even though my sister and brother run around and I can't get no sleep and shit. I'm alright though. Best place I go to, man. Yeah. Huh? What's wrong with my leg? Nigga, how you know what's... Well, shit, I was working at hip-hop, the first hip-hop on York Road and shit, right? Nigga asked for too much lemon pepper season and shit, got the shit all over the floor, fucked around and slipped in the lemon pepper season, nigga. Yeah. Yup. Fucked me up, man. Yeah. Shit, I got a case pending, nigga. Hell yeah, boy. Yeah, about 35,000. Alright. Called Peter T. Nickel tomorrow. Yeah. Yeah, man. Alright. That was mom's. You know what that means? Y'all guys go.
It's mama.
Yeah. My company about to leave now, ma.
Hey, I'm about to leave.
Alright.
Hey, I'm about to leave.
Hey. I told
y'all gotta go now.
Shut the
Y'all
fuck
gotta
up.
go.
Now
Y'all gotta go.
Huh?
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Oh, shit. They done shot Stringer Bell.
Bye-bye. Y'all gotta go.
Thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget, I'm going to let Troy give out the information for the show.
Okay, Real Nigga Show playing Baltimore, Maryland, June 12th, 13th, 14th at the Baltimore Theater Project. You can get tickets online at Eventbrite. And then in April, you can pick up tickets at the Baltimore Theater Project and at Arena Players.
There you go. And so, what's your social media? How we getting
J Esquire Music. That's JESQ_music on Instagram and Twitter. On Facebook is JESQ Music.
And where can we find your music?
Imperfect Gentleman is on every streaming site now. It's on Tidal. It's on Apple. It's on iTunes. It's on Spotify, Google Play, Amazon Play, and anywhere worldwide.
Thank you, sir.
Joshua Dixon. You can catch me on Facebook at Joshua Demar, DEMAR, or Joshua Dixon, JOSHUADIXON. I'm only on Facebook. Yeah.
I'm about to get my ticket. You go have a ticket sale this weekend, sir. Because I almost missed it last time.
Stop for a minute.
Go ahead.
I need another person to work the show.
Okay.
And so, can I hire you to work with our
show?
Okay. Right here. And let's talk about, can you go to Ohio with us?
All right. What else am I doing? Where else am I go?
Okay. Meekins, you got another team player.
Oh.
You're going to be working with Meekins and Tracy.
Okay. So, man, I really appreciate you guys coming on. I appreciate the talent. I definitely appreciate you sharing your story. Come on back. I'm going to have you and the fellas come on back when we get closer to it. And you're always welcome to come back. So I wish you well. And I wish all of you well. Please take these moments of break to really get our business together and get our strategy together. Not just for right now, how we going to get into April, how we going to pay that rent. Don't worry about that right now. Worry about your plan down the line. Today is already taken care of. Tomorrow is already taken care of. But let's just do our strategies. I will be right back on Friday, same time. We'll have Laura Sly on. She'll be coming on this Friday. So come on back. The next show up is on Wednesday, and that's the Skyline Radio Show. That's the Artist Exchange Radio Show every Monday and Friday, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. only on Big Soul's Radio. SportsRadio.com. Peace out.
Is what it is radio show.
Yeah, go ahead. Alright, listen. Alright, say situation. Cause I keep telling y'all it's different situations in the child support thing. You can't just pinpoint one thing. You can't just say, oh, here did B. That's why you're on child support. Oh, he this. That's why you're on child support. Oh, she this. That's why she on child support. No,